Hello and welcome to the Work Hates podcast. I'm Bron Lewis. This is Bretty Blake. Everyone has a nightmare work story, whether it is a shit boss, a dreadful workplace, or an insufferable colleague. And if you have none of those things, chances are you're the problem.
You are the problem. Today we are joined by comedian, middle child, and fashion icon Jess Fuchs. Yes!
Woo! That was a really professional intro from actually both of you.
Thank you. I know.
Because it was sold like he's going to do a shit job.
Yeah. I normally do. Man, do you know what I did when you were up there checking Ari? I was like, what should I say about you? And Jess gave me 3 things. I was like,
I gave him
that's
his
way
lines.
easier than me guessing every
Did
time.
you say fashion icon?
No,
I
I
came up
didn't.
with
That
fashion
was
You came up with that. I was going to
She's always
say.
so well dressed.
That's
You've always
so
got
nice.
great outfits.
Yeah, but you know what? Now I don't know which camera to look at, but I'm wearing a skirt and I didn't, so my pussy's out. And that's not. Well, that is
Well,
fashion.
we need
That is
ratings.
fashion.
We need
Yeah.
ratings, you know?
Put that. For the thumbnail, I'll just spread my legs.
That's
and then you guys can put like a blur.
Yeah.
That's
fun.
so good.
That's
Do you know,
fun.
This is going to be the most viewed episode ever.
Now, whatever we can do, clickbait. We need it.
Honestly, you actually have to do
Dude,
clickbait.
should I get my dick out as
Yeah,
well?
do
Okay,
it.
all right. I didn't know what to do.
No
I'm sorry.
way.
Yeah,
No.
Bron gets her tits, I get my flaps, you get the dick.
Oh, God.
Come on.
We're going to have like a
literally,
million
what's it called?
subscribers. What is it called?
What's it called when you play slots?
What's it called?
Jackpot.
Is
Oh,
that
but that's
it?
3 in a row. Is
Yeah.
it?
A royal flash?
Yeah.
There you go. Episode
Someone's
title.
Someone's been on TV
Someone's
before. Fucking hell, she's good. Jesus Christ.
Jess,
She's
we're so
good.
excited to have you. You asked before how many are we
Yes.
recording today.
Yeah.
Usually we record 3 and we just bank up the guests. You
Yeah.
could only do today, and so you are our
Yes.
only guest today.
Wow.
We've come in, we've set all this up. I've dragged
there's
my
so much
3-year-old.
pressure.
No,
None.
we're so why I'm
Bron
saying
doesn't do
this,
anything. She just
I
wakes
do
up
nothing.
with a latte
She
and
brought the
yells at me.
kid.
I
Yeah, but the
brought my
kid's
kid.
here.
He is. He's at the back. He's got a little iPad. He's fine. He's fine. He's got his Hot Wheels shirt on that
as
Freddie
long as
gave
he's-
him.
Yeah, he looks, I was saying he like
looks like Brett.
looks more than,
How dare you?
Scary.
he looks exactly. How long's this podcast been going for?
2.5 years?
3
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
3 years, 9 months.
exactly. 3 years, 9 months, yeah.
Interesting.
But what I'm getting at is not
Yeah.
about like how exciting this is
Yeah.
that we've done this, but I'm saying it's so exciting to have you on. We
Yes.
wanted to have you on because
I know,
you're
'cause
not
you guys-
Melbourne based.
I'm not Melbourne based, and you guys were just in Sydney, weren't you? Didn't you just do a bunch of episodes or something?
We just
there?
went. Yeah, we went there. You were busy. You couldn't fit us in.
yeah, I
Again,
We're in the
I-
world, you
classic.
didn't miss out. We're in
I
the
was out.
world's hottest apartment.
Really?
And we're just sweating bullets, dude. Yeah.
No, it was the first
That'll
one we did.
happen.
We had with Kate Dolan, and it was like 9 in the morning or something, and it was a heat wave. So we were all like sweating through our shirts, and you know when you get hot, you get smaller and smaller on
and
the
you just-
couch.
and also you just can't. I can't focus at a certain point.
Yeah.
When I'm so hot and sweaty, and like your clothes are sticking to you, like
yes,
I can't do it.
and it is
No.
by far our most chaotic episode.
Yeah,
that
we're
one.
also having Kate on there. We'll do that.
Yeah.
It's like the heat or Kate Dolan
Also,
or a combination.
we had about 3 million beers the night before, and we both had a
Yeah.
big stint off drinking. Like I think I did
God.
like 60 days. Bron did like 30,
Oh,
and then we were
God.
like 2 drunk
Yeah.
mums on the vinos. I'm like,
White wine, yeah, white wine,
man, I get white lady drunk on white wine. I'm like,
white girl
let's
wasted.
get some fucking party started.
It's almost like booze doesn't know your gender. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird.
It
Isn't that
definitely makes me
Wow.
swing one way. I'm like, let's get on a fucking pink limo and
you
have
like-
some fun. Yeah.
Do you like white wines?
I actually do. Yeah, I think
Do
it's.
you put ice in them?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm
okay.
still from Perth.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
You know what
okay,
I mean?
yeah, I was gonna say.
But
Okay, good.
I growing up was always beer. I never
Yeah.
understood wine. But then I think when you get to a certain age, you start appreciating
Yeah.
wine. Or I think the main reason is because when you drink 80 beers a day, people think you're an alcoholic. But if you've got a nice bottle of red and you drink that,
You're
they think you're
refined.
cultured.
Yeah, you're refined.
No,
you got a
I think they
refined
still
palate.
think you're an alcoholic, Bretty. I don't
I'm
know.
doing it near a bin. That's the problem. Yeah, it wasn't like at a vineyard.
And
but,
that'll, I think it's situational. Depends if you're doing it near a bin, that's not a good
and it
law.
was passion pop and it was $2 a bottle.
Oh my
And
God,
also it depends
passion
what
pop.
vessel are you drinking out of. I just went to.
Shoot.
I was
gonna say if you're drinking out of a mug.
yes.
I feel like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
mum alcoholic move
Yeah.
101.
Dude,
That's like
absolutely.
right
mug's
up.
a sad one. If the glass isn't see-through, it's a problem.
And a stem.
Stem.
well,
We're
with wine,
stemless
I
ones
guess they're
now. It's
stemless.
fine.
Oh,
We've
that's
moved
true.
on.
That's true.
I was
That's
just
true.
in
I don't like the
Perth.
stem glass anymore. I've
You
moved
don't like
past it.
you like
You
a
don't like
stemless.
stem?
Stemless.
Yeah.
I'm a
Okay.
stemless guy.
Well, I've got
It's-
both,
that's
Freddie.
nice.
You can come over
Oh, that's
whenever.
so nice.
Bron's
And
doing
you
very
also
well.
can.
So
But
nice.
doing very
Bron's
well.
doing very well. She
I'm
can do
doing very
stem
well.
and no stem.
I have
money.
married
Okay.
up. And so I was just in Perth at the Fringe, and on the last night, I was like, so excited. When you're at the end of a run in a different city, you're like, okay, this is going to be awesome. Oh,
hey, mate.
Okay, give me 1 minute, and then I will help you. Okay.
No. We'll just get
This
the
is what
podcast
being
going.
a parent is.
I know.
Do you have any kids
No,
that
I
you know
don't.
of?
Not that I know.
That
Well,
you know
Ari's
of?
over there. He
Oh,
just
true.
no.
Yeah, but you don't really know of him.
No, I'm not. I don't have kids. I'm not a big kid person, but I adore all three of Bron's kids because they're so fun. But every time I go over there, they come up with new practical jokes to play on me.
Okay.
And I always fall for them because I'm stupid.
What's the best one they've done recently?
Well, they did one one was at they're all having dinner together. It was beautiful dinner. I was like, oh my God, I feel like a family. They're asking about each other's days. I'm like, this is beautiful. I'm such a sad loser. I'm so happy to be here.
Being like the 10th wheel.
And they go, we play this game, and everyone has to do it in a different fun voice. And I was like, okay. And they're like, so the first daughter goes, show me the money. And then everyone claps. I was like, yay. And then they're like, the thing is showing them the money. And then everyone claps. And I was so nervous because it's my time to do it in front of the kids.
No.
And I didn't look like an idiot in front of them. And I was like, show me the money. And then no one clapped. And they just stared at me. And I was like, oh, did I say the wrong thing?
No. So
and
you're bombing in front of kids.
And then they all just pissed themselves laughing. And I was
Yeah.
like, you guys never do this, do you? They're like, no, we've tricked you again, you idiot.
And is Bron just sitting there enjoying it?
Yes.
Yeah, love
and because
that.
she loves me being bullied.
If she didn't love it, her kids wouldn't love it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have her in that line. Like,
It was awesome.
her kids have learned
It was
from
so
you.
good.
Yeah.
They loved it, and they still, when I'm like in a little bit of like a cross mood, which happens sometimes, if you could believe it, and they'll be like, "Hey, Ma, do you remember when we got Brett?"
And
I'm
it
like,
breaks you. You're like,
"Oh, wait,
I'm
actually,
back
that
in.
was awesome.
Let's
That
go.
was pretty awesome. Even today we were setting up, they're like, oh, when's Brett coming back over? I'm like, I'm not coming over for weeks. I'm still, I'm emotionally scarred.
Too upset.
Because I really
I
wanted
love
to...
you being bullied by what, a 3-year-old? What are the other ages?
Yeah, 9 and 10. So
9 and 10.
they're
Oh,
like
9 and 10.
sophisticated. They
That's
understand
real.
timing.
Yeah.
They understand
Yeah.
bullying. They understand when it can be good.
Yeah.
And that,
And that
is
was
all
good.
I needed to
I bought them
teach
new
them.
bikes that day as well. I thought I was cool. I had these old scooters that I had around the house.
And they're treating you that way.
And then I was like, I'm the cool uncle. They're going to love me. They're going to be excited. And they're like, no.
then they
how
publicly
do we
shame you.
How do we make him feel like
How do you
shit?
make him feel like he's bombing in front of a
Okay,
full family?
But I love him so
That's
much.
what
though.
that is. That is so tough.
Yeah.
That silence.
I feel like the bullying will continue. I'm so sorry, and I think
Yeah.
like they've got plans for new bullying, and it will
Stressed
it will happen. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
so
you-
let's
so
hope.
you were-
I was in
yeah.
Adelaide last night. You want to do a full run, especially in a city that's not yours. You're so excited to get to the end of it, especially at the start of a new show, and you're like, oh my God, you're thrilled it all kind of came to an end. There's heaps of comedians like scattered around, and at the end of my show, I was like, okay, cool. I've got one more like lineup gig to do, and maybe people there will want to have a few drinks afterwards, and I am ready. And I got to this venue, and Georgie Carroll was there. She was just watching Lawrence Mooney on stage, and I was like, oh, she loves drinking, but she's just having a pint of soda water. And I was like, oh, okay. I said, are you going to have a drink after this, Georgie? Because I thought after this I might have a few drinks. And she goes, me, a drink? And I went, oh, like you don't have to. And she goes, what do you think this is? And I go, oh, sorry, I thought it was, is that a cider? She goes, no, it's white wine. She was having a pint of white wine. She's my hero. I love her so much.
Just when I thought I couldn't love that lady
I
anymore.
know, she's amazing. I was like, I
pint.
said, why is it a pint? And she goes, I don't like wine glasses. Like, that is all you need to know. Georgie Carroll is incredible.
Pint.
Yeah, exactly.
But how much is in the pint? Are you getting
plenty.
2 or 3 cups?
I reckon you'd have to be like...
That's great.
You know when they do... Well, because in New South Wales, they do like... In Melbourne, they just give you one size. But
Yep.
in New South Wales, they go small or big.
large.
Or large.
Oh,
And
they don't do that here.
no, very
No,
rarely
what's
do you
that
get it.
about?
No, I love it because I'm like large, and then you see him tip 3/4 of a bottle, and then you go, "Oh,
that'll do.
Dad's on one today. Yeah,
That'll do
yeah,
me.
Yeah, yeah.
Daddy happy.
Saves me
Yeah.
coming back every 3 seconds.
Well, that's why you drink by the bin. It's always by the bar.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly.
In between the bin and the bar.
Out of the bin, not in the bin. Drinking out of a bin.
You didn't do Perth, did you?
No, I'm just going to do...
Perth?
I've been to Perth once. I did a bunch of gigs there. They were good. But sometimes I get scared of environments that I really don't know. Like even places when I'm performing on like in a stage or a place that I've never been. Because I think my brain when I'm on stage is so chaotic.
Yeah.
With who's in the audience, I like to really know where I physically am so that I'm not, because otherwise I'm distracted by like the curtains and the this and the that. Whereas if I've been on a stage a couple of times, like now at the store, for example, like I know how that place works physically. I know how the sound bounces around. I know that sounds so lame, but
no, it makes sense.
Then nothing can surprise me.
Yeah, okay.
So sometimes I'm just a bit hesitant to be like, oh,
That's so interesting that you say that because you are such a crowd work comedian.
Yeah.
That like you can't, like nothing's predictable. You don't know what they're going to say.
But that's what I'm saying is I love that unpredictability. And so it's like, I think sometimes when I'm in a new venue, I'm like, okay, is that door swinging open? Is that going to, because then I'm like noticing that. And sometimes I lose the filter of like, don't say that light is on to them. They don't care.
Yeah.
But it's on and there's something, it's flickering and there's something weird about it.
Yeah, because that's already chaotic. You need to be able to control the other things that you can
control
kind
as
of have
much
a
as you
little
can.
bit of the space of it.
So it's fun to perform in new places, but I haven't done the like full festival circuit. This will be the first year that I'm doing Melbourne. I'll do 9 shows here and it'll be an hour, but it'll be the first time I'm doing it. So it'll be good.
What
it'll
I
be
love
fun.
so much about you, Jess, is so many things, obviously, fashion icon, for example,
Yeah,
but middle child, obviously, but is that
I already forgot that.
You're such
You're like, are you?
No, I realized that for a minute.
wow. I feel like you've been around for a while. Like when I started comedy, you were already established, but it's just when I love hearing when you go on and then coming off, hearing people be like, who was that? She was incredible. And you'll leave a gig and like the room runner, and it's happened to the coldest of room runners in Melbourne. You'll like leave and they're like, fuck, she was incredible. I'm like, yeah, she's Jess Fuchs.
She's Jess Fuchs. Feels weird saying that with your kid at the back.
He's
He loves it. He's got his headphones on. Fuck.
Yeah, it's weird because I do feel this sounds so wanky, but it's like I feel a bit unknown, which is like so lame to say.
Why?
I don't know.
How long have you been doing comedy for?
Oh, unfortunately, I started doing improv, which is like so embarrassing. But I started doing improv in 2016 and did it like 2016, 2017. And then I did stand up 2018-ish, like mid, and then pandemic. But I had done 2 open mics before I started improv and they were like horrible. Yeah. I don't know if you have a similar experience of like when you first started. One of them was in Sydney. And this dude was sitting at the back, kind of like a room like this, and he was sitting on a high chair at the back, and he was opening and closing his legs. He was wearing a dress because that was like his comedy he was wearing a dress, like he's a guy in a dress, which is so fun. Yeah. And he had gone on stage and then he was like opening and closing his legs, and I don't think he was wearing undies, like from memory, but I've also kind of blocked it out.
So that was
well, just keep going. Dude,
attraction.
And I couldn't
trim the hedges, mate.
I couldn't tell if he was doing it to like screw with me or if he was just like actually like, sometimes you fidget.
Yeah.
But it was bizarre. And I was like 21 at the time and just like nervous. And then the second show I did, second mic I did, I got heckled by it was only dudes who were doing a mic and they were obviously all friends. I was living in the States and there was a bucket and my name just happened to be pulled last. Obviously, like whoever's pulling is like, who is this? I was the only woman. And then all the guys were like heckling each other because they knew each other. And then I got on last. It was like 1 a.m. and they were heckling me and I was like, oh my God. So I was so scarred from that then I was like, all right, I'm going to put stand up to the side for a sec. And then I did improv for a long time and then I came back to stand up. So, and then by the time I moved back from America, it was pandemic. So I didn't do the trauma bonding with everyone where you like do the open mics and you get to know each other and you like develop your style and your jokes and stuff. So I feel like that to some degree now is like why people are like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, because you weren't I was called like being a pig in the mud. You're in every gig, you know everyone. This is the pig. Oh yeah, I've seen
I
it.
just did this mic. Oh, I like this joke. You don't. Yeah. So I feel like to a degree it was like that. That's why also the bookers or like just other comics like, who are you? Like I'll do gigs all the time where people are like, sorry, but who are you? Are you new? I'm like, I've been around for a while, like at least in Australia.
And then you've probably got to a level now where you don't have to do all the smaller ones now, and then it's
random.
Yeah. Okay,
So it's so weird, but
it's a weird spot to be in.
Yeah, it's funny. It's such a funny like thing. But but
Because I must admit, when I saw we did the lounge together the first time, like we got on like a house on fire backstage talking shit. But I'd never seen you before, and you fucking blew the roof off, and I was like, "Who is?"
Classic.
I think I messaged two people. I was like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah.
And I think I put your thing on your stories, and then I had like 4 other comics go, like I think it was
who
like
is
Jassler,
that?
like, I
Yeah.
know, man, I saw
Yeah.
her the other month in Sydney. She fucking blew the roof. I was like,
it's so
yeah,
random.
I thought I discovered someone new.
No, but isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But I guess there's probably. I mean, I feel like for you guys, maybe.
So sorry.
That's all right.
Can you guys? This is just gonna be.
This is
I'm so sorry.
What
No,
it
it's
is.
so
okay.
Do you guys usually are there kids around usually?
Yeah. Nah, this is our first time, but he was so
really?
he was so
He's
well
chill though.
behaved
He's cute.
the last time, like when
Yeah.
we were setting up, like we
Yeah.
had an hour before the pod,
Yeah.
and he was just such an angel, and I was
Yeah.
like, wait till that recorder hits
He's
on.
gonna all of a sudden need everything.
Yeah. He's gonna need everything at once. But I was like, this is the only day I can do it. Can I bring Ari? I'm like, Ari's so well behaved.
Yeah, it's
I'm
chill.
like,
Plus, this is life. Are you
this
gonna
is
have
life.
kids?
No, I don't think I'm gonna have kids. I've
Yeah.
got, like I said, I'm just gonna adopt Bronnies.
I
As
think
in,
that's
like,
good. It's nice to be the uncle where you can like chill with the kids and then be like,
yeah, because even at
Thanks so
dinner, like they
much.
were lovely. Like we went over there for 3 hours. It was great. But then I'm like, I am exhausted,
it's so
dude.
tiring.
I don't
It's so
know how
shit.
parents do it. I'm like,
I don't know. I
I'm
think
like,
it's their hormones, so they get all the hormones of like keeping them like happy.
yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, after that 3 hours, I was like, I'm ready to go home.
No, it's terrible.
And I went home, I had a wine by
know.
myself, and I was watching dirt bike
See-
videos, and I was back to being happy again.
See, you couldn't do that if you had kids.
Couldn't do that.
Because there'd be kids coming and you have to like wash them and put them to sleep and like,
Well, and I love sleeping in.
yeah.
Dude,
You
if someone
cannot
woke me up
do
at
that.
5:30, I'd be like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
gonna kill
I know
you.
you came
But
out of my
that's the-
nuts, but you're
that's
dead.
That's a thing. They come
Yeah.
out of your nuts and then I think because they've come out of there, hormones are circulating.
Oh, and then you're like,
And
you
then
love
they
them
wake you up
more
at 5 and you're like, oh, that's cute. I'm like, is it?
well, fuck, give some of those hormones to my dad, because
I
I think he hated me for fucking 20 years, I'm pretty
Maybe,
sure.
maybe does he like you now?
Yeah, we get along
that's
better.
good.
We get along better now when we're, but also
Are you
I was,
two similar?
oh, yeah, I think that as
Yeah.
well. We're both smart asses and we both got short tempers, and also like he was a young. I can see our kids like he was a younger dad, like
Yeah,
he's like 25,
stress.
like
Oh,
ruining his life,
God.
you know.
How
I
many?
get it.
Wait, is there you and who? Where are you
And
in
an
the
older
pecking
brother.
order?
Yeah, I got
So you're the
two,
baby.
two olders. So one older brother who's 2 years older than us.
Yeah.
But I could see how it just like, because then he just had to work and he worked in the mines 12 hours back, and there's two kids
see,
with ADHD.
and then you come back and you got these two shitheads running around
Yeah.
as if you're gonna love them. It's painful. It's like a lot of work. And also, if he was 25,
Yeah.
they haven't lived.
No.
You haven't lived, and now you're like just full time parenting.
Yeah. Just going like, do I have to deal with this cunt
No,
again? Why is he on the
God.
roof?
Now that my sister just had a kid a couple years ago, but
Yeah, very
my
cute
mum
little
had
girl.
she's
So
sweet.
cute.
Yeah. But my mum had my sister when she was 20 or 20
Oh.
just 21, just hit 21. And I'm 31 and I'm like, I can't even fathom being 31, and my mum had 3 kids
Yeah.
by the time she was like 28. I'm like, and so imagine being 25 and having to look after these shithead kids.
I know.
Of course you're going to hate him a little bit.
Yeah, I always say like you can tell how much your dad liked you. Like,
It makes sense.
because there's a difference between your dad.
I know you can't say that because you're a mum.
No, I say it all the time.
Dad loved us, but he never liked us. And I was like,
Yeah.
the difference is you can tell how long he spent in the carport
Okay.
before he came into the house. That's how much, if you know how much your dad
yeah.
liked you. 'Cause my dad was in there 15 minutes just gripping the wheel.
Just white knuckling
there a
and being
little-
like, get in there,
Yeah.
get in there.
Was there a fridge
Yeah.
in there? Could he like get out and get a little beer and sit back in there?
Fuck no, he was just sitting.
What an
he was
idiot.
just, sitting
He was
in the
just
car
heavy
park.
breathing.
He was
He
just
was
staring out the
just-
window like,
yeah.
Dad, why don't you come in? He's like, he just wanted 15 minutes to himself.
This is 2 ADHD drenched children.
I think that's why dads spend a lot of time on the toilets though.
Yeah, I think it is
They
as
just
well.
sit in there. Like every dad I know, my dad included, will sit on a toilet for like an hour.
Yeah, I don't
I love
understand
even.
What
I'm not a
is
dad. I
that?
love an hour shit.
Yeah, it might just be men. Maybe it's a
But
man thing.
I just love that.
What
Like
is
you're sitting
that?
there and you're just like, oh god, just a little bit of time to yourself.
Yeah.
I had
What
cats running
that's
around.
all you
But that's
have
all-
is
yeah,
time
that's
to
the
yourself. What are you talking about?
I know.
Is it just being in a small space?
I think it is.
Yeah.
There's something
That's
nice
why your dad
about
liked
it.
the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's just they like being almost in a. It's like their version of a weighted blanket.
Yeah.
Just
'Cause they
surrounded
wouldn't
by
get-
your own
yeah,
stench.
Yeah.
Lonely
Hotboxing
stench.
themselves. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well done, Brad. That sounds really nice.
No, it is. It's relaxing.
Is
Whatever,
it?
whatever works.
Yeah, it's my
if that's
time.
if that's keeping you sane, or close to. But it's nice now. Maybe now your dad, as you get older, he likes you now.
Yeah.
He loves you, and
No.
now he likes you.
No,
I
if
think
you've
he
seen
likes me
any
now.
photos that Brett posts about of his dad on social media, he looks furious to be there.
He also
it.
actively
Is he
never
grumpy?
smiles in any photo just to piss everyone off.
Oh, okay.
So when Mum makes me and Dad take photos together, we both do it, and she's like, "Fucking smile," and we're like,
God, your
That's
poor
cute.
mum.
"Yeah."
Surrounded by
Yeah.
such fuckheads all the time.
Yeah,
Poor
two sons.
She
thing.
got
That's a-
3 fuckheads.
Oh,
Wait,
poor
there's 3
darling.
boys?
Well, Dad's a child as well.
Yeah, true,
You know, He's a
true.
fucking pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Can't even get out of the car. Can't work the handles yet.
Oh,
What
God.
a fucking idiot.
Poor woman.
So you got into comedy. Some people
Yeah.
would say a little bit later because some people start super early, a bit later,
I know,
and
I'm
then
jealous of those. How old were you guys?
I was mid 30s.
23, 24.
See,
Yeah, I was
that's
like
crazy.
34.
But I think people who get in their like 30s, they're actually better faster
Yes.
because
yeah.
they've had more life, they're smarter, and they don't worry about the bullshit.
Yeah.
So you just focus on like, I am like a student of this, I'm going to learn how to do it, and you just go out there.
Yeah, and then you go, I had to go home as soon as it was over.
Yep.
So people like hung out and drank dirty beers
Yeah.
for ages. I was
That's
like,
me.
bye. Yeah, that's Brett.
You were
90
20,
bit-
how old were you?
24-ish.
So that's, so similar.
It's
Yeah,
young,
yeah.
so young. What would you have to talk about?
But
How
Heaps,
mean,
mate.
yeah.
Have you seen my life?
cross your dad is?
Yeah.
no, it's
I've had a pretty
true.
chaotic life, dude. I got heaps to talk about.
Yeah,
You
this
got
is
plenty
true.
to,
Yeah.
to draw from.
So I think this year's going to be huge for you, Jess. I think it's going to be massive. So you really, because you're branching out, you're doing more stuff with
Yeah.
like more touring. Do you have a daytime job, like a regular job?
No, well, I've done like a mixture of things. So I worked during uni and then up until like maybe a year and a half ago at a medical center just as a receptionist.
Oh yes, I
And
saw the
that-
videos of the
Yeah.
clips you had. It was so
Oh my
funny.
God. And I love that job. Like I've been thinking about going back to do it like just part-time to make a bit more money and stuff because I'm like trying to save. I'm going to try to move to America later this year and stuff like that.
Oh,
So, you know,
great.
all of that. And then obviously festivals, they cost so much money.
Yes.
Like that's the other thing too. Unless you go to Perth or wherever and you can like pack it in, you've lost money, which is fine, but it's a risk. So I haven't been working now. Like most of the money I make is through stand-up and
Yeah,
hosting and then just like social media videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Just like whatever. That's a whole other thing.
Your social media game is very strong.
Well,
I love
also
it.
the cool thing about doing like a lot of hosting and being able to like riff with audiences is people will come and see that and then be like, oh, I need a woman on the street video for this brand. Can you come and do it? So like a lot of the content that I'll make isn't even going on my socials. It's like brands will have me just go
great.
and like talk to people on the street. So that's such a
Right.
fun way to like do stuff. And a lot of comics don't have that skill.
No,
So,
they don't.
No.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Watching a comedian who isn't good at crowd work attempt crowd work is paradise
I
for
know,
me.
it's-
I love it.
I'm torn
It's
by
so
it because
awkward.
when people ask me, I don't know, what advice would you guys give on this? I'm like, if you have an interest in it, then you have to learn how to do it and it's painful. But if you don't have an interest in it, don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't do it. You don't need to be good
I
at
can
this
do
thing.
it when
You
I
need to
want
do
to
it.
and fuck around
Yeah.
if someone interrupts and
Yeah.
go. But I can't walk out and be like, hey, so
But do you hate the idea of doing
yeah,
that?
I hate the idea
Then
of
you
that.
don't
I just
need
do
to
jokes,
learn.
and then if
Yeah.
someone wants to play or fuck around,
or
then I
something
can.
happens, you
I
feel
can
comfortable if someone
yeah.
drops something talking about it.
Yeah, but I don't want to
Yeah.
go out there and like, I don't give a whatever
Yeah.
you've got going on there. I'm way more interested.
Yeah.
Bye.
And that's
You guys
healthy
met my
ego.
dad?
Yeah, that's a healthy ego. Yeah,
You
yeah,
guys were
yeah.
talking about my dad. But that's the thing. What, because you do crowd work, but
Yeah, I
you're
love
also a
crowd work.
host.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually
yeah.
those two things, like how often are you seeing someone who hosts who does no crowd work?
Yes.
You don't see it.
No, because sometimes I just want you, especially when the host walks out, the audience just want to know that you can see them.
Yeah.
Like we're here, right? And then you
Yeah.
talk to them a bit and then you get it. And then it lets other people do no crowd work if they
Yeah,
don't want to do it.
100%.
Which you are welcome to never do crowd work if you're
Yeah.
no good at it. So what is the worst job? We ask this of everyone. What is the worst job you've ever had?
Would it be medical recep? Like,
No,
because
that
every
sounds
time I ring
awesome.
those people, I think it was it Nick White's got a
Yeah,
a
he's
great
also
video.
got a medical center receptionist thing where where they're just like,
Every
they
time-
hate everyone.
Yes.
Every time you ring them and you just
Yeah.
want a doctor's appointment, they're so fucking rude.
Yeah, they're
You're like,
mean.
Yeah.
They're mean because every person that calls, you think you're the first person who's ever been sick, and everyone calls and will be like we used to get calls all the time where it would be like, it's urgent. So we'll move people around, fit you in, and you'd call back and be like, okay, so if you can be here at 4:15, I've squeezed you in. I've actually got a haircut at 4:30, so that's not going to work for me. So, and you're like, so you're
Well,
not dying. So I
Yeah.
just spent 40 minutes moving old people
Right.
around, inconveniencing, because you told me it was like urgent. So it's like that energy. And then by the time you hang that phone call up and get the next person, you're like, fuck off, cunt.
Okay.
Because you're like, oh my God.
This
does it
does-
make sense?
It makes sense now because I will have the anger. They're always super angry, and you're
Yes.
like, and so
but
it means
for fair reason.
For fair reason. I didn't know that because
Yeah.
I always, and this is like for you
Yeah.
know, to justify us mongrels who come to the desk, we're like, I know you're going to be mean to me,
Yep.
so I'm going to pretend
Yep.
that I have no feelings, so
Yep.
whatever. And you're like, I've got an appointment. My name's Ron Lewis. It's at 4:00. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah,
And then
you
they're
just-
like, what? And you're like, what? And then you're just like,
I'm ready.
well.
It's
Ready for a
hard.
fight.
It's really, because you gear up then ready to be rude. The other thing that
Yes.
happens all the time is you get people coming up being rude. Why is the doctor running an hour late? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We told the doctor they're wrapping up, blah, blah, blah. And then they're angry at you. The doctor will come out of the room. Hi, Bron, please come up. Hi, doctor, how are
my
you?
God.
How's everything going? And then you're like, what am I, chopped liver? You've been treating me like shit. What the hell? So then you're just angry all the time. But I
Yeah,
love
okay.
anger. To me is my favorite emotion. So I think I
same.
was born to be
great.
you would love being a receptionist then.
good.
It's so fun. It's so much fun.
You get to be a cunt as well. Is that what it's
because
good to do that?
It's
yeah.
amazing. And also the patients are expecting it, so you can kind of
Yes.
lean in. Like I used to make promises to myself, today you will not say thank you or you're welcome. So people would be like, thank you for moving my appointment around. I'd be like, mm-hmm. And that was a win.
That is,
and that
I didn't
was
know
a
you're
win.
doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's a win, dude.
Yeah, and that was a win. Because I was like, all of you, especially a rude person, if a rude person would be like, oh, here's the form that I filled in, I wouldn't be like, thank you. I'd just go, sit down. Because I'm like, I have to win. I need to win. Some part of today has to be for me. And
Yeah.
me not saying thank you because you've just been a huge asshole to me, that's going to be my win. But
my
this, when I
gosh.
tell you this was my favorite job I've ever worked, I love it.
Yeah.
It's being a receptionist. It was so much fun. The characters are absolutely crazy. The regulars who come in, it's literally...
Because you get a lot of hypochondriacs
Oh my
as well.
God, yeah. And also I worked at a medical center that was like a family one. So it's not, now they've become a lot more like these big corporations like will buy the old school family medical centers that sit in like a suburb that's like a local spot. And so the place I worked was one of the last ones in like the area that I'm from. And so these doctors, like there's no nurses, there's nothing. So like I'd be called in to like, one time I got called in because a woman had a skin tag on her nipple and the doctor couldn't hold the skin tag and tie wire around it to like you like starve it from its blood circulation or whatever, so then the skin tag falls off. So they call me and they're like, can you just with tweezers hold this woman's nipple up to get tension so we can wrap a wire around? And I'm literally like, I'm like 20 years old at uni, like never seen a nipple that's not mine, who's like a woman's, and I'm like shaking like this, and I'm literally like, how's your
let's
weekend?
tweaking it.
Literally,
Hello.
I know, there you
Getting
go.
it
Okay,
working.
getting into that. And the doctor, at some point, I'm shaking so vigorously, I'm so awkward that the doctor's like, oh, never mind, I'll just figure it out. And I was like, I'm so sorry I couldn't hold your nipple with the right tension. You know what I mean? Like, it's the most insane. And I just walk back out there and someone's like, why is the doctor taking ages?
There's a fucking big titted woman in
like,
there.
I can't hold the nipple.
You get your
I can't
ass
hold
in
the
there.
nipple.
You hold the nipple.
It's just the most perfect place. It's the most, it's an amazing place. And so that's not a bad job, but it was the most challenging to remain calm and not lose your like faith in humanity of being like, I have to be nice. Because some people are mums who are stressed who come in and their kids are just genuinely sick and they're coming up so lovely. And you don't want to be like an animal who's like, what do you want from me? So you try to like take joy into every new interaction, assuming you won't be the worst person I've ever faced.
Oh, but I am.
But it's,
and
but
then
usually
you'd
you're
see-
wrong and usually they are the worst person.
You'd see the
It's
worst of people because
hard.
everyone's sick as well. And then
Everyone's stressed,
sick, whatever.
And this place was also, it doubled as a methadone clinic. So
Now
So
Brady's
you've
interested.
definitely
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
Brady there. Hello, here's me and me bin of wine.
but we'd get people like you calling up on like a Friday and being like, and there were two doctors who did the methadone clinic, and sometimes they wouldn't work on a Friday. So you'd get these like people who had been on methadone forever. Really, some of them were quite stressy for fair reason. They'd call and be like, oh, I don't have enough tablets. And you'd be like, okay, cool. Well, we're opening it on Monday. I can book you in on Monday. And I remember this one woman, she was like, I've got my daughter's daughter's birthday this weekend and I only have 72 tablets. If this birthday goes to shit, I blame you.
Oh my God.
And I'm literally like, okay, well, you take 2 tablets a day. There's Saturday, Sunday, so you just need 4 tablets, but you got 72, but irrational.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
almost
love
like
that shit.
almost like addictive people don't
It's
blame
almost-
addicts don't blame themselves, do they? This
They
is
blame
your
me.
problem that I decided to go down this path 9 years ago and not fix it.
And now I only have 72 methadone tablets to last me. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. I can't do
That's
that.
heaps.
It was so
Yeah,
much.
but
It's
she's
irrational.
following the rules with medication,
Yeah,
dude.
true,
She's
true,
banging
true.
72 a day.
Yeah, true. But it was just such that kind of human stress brings me joy.
Yeah,
It's a certain personality
this peek
type to
behind
do
the
it.
curtain of a medical clinic is
Yeah.
so beautiful to me.
Fascinating.
Because I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense now.
Yes.
It
Have
all
you
makes
guys ever
sense.
rang 000 before?
Yes.
Those people are fucking cunts
Nah.
as well.
Are they?
Yes.
Man, I was.
They're very calm though.
They're calm,
They're
because
calm.
but then it made me click with you just then. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, because they've had 90 phone calls like this today.
Yeah.
But I found an old guy. I was walking home, pissed. Found this old guy just passed out on the fucking
Oh,
road,
God.
and I thought he looked like he was 70.
Yeah.
Out of his house. Like, what is he doing out this
Oh,
late?
no.
He's on the side of the road. He's pissed himself. I thought he had a stroke.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to wake him up. He's like, oh, I'll call the ambulance. They're like, where is he? I said, mate, I'm in Sydney. I don't know where the fuck I am. I can see this road. They're like, what is it near? I'm like, it's dark. It's near nothing. I don't know where the fuck it is. And he's like, they're getting snappy at me. And I've got this thing on my phone. It's called 3 words. So it's an app if you get lost in the bush. And every section in the world has a name. And if you say these 4 names in a sequence, it tells you per metre squared where you are in the world.
What?
It's an emergency service thing because I ride adventure bikes.
And also, Brady is always convinced it's the end of the world.
It's true.
Oh, you're a doomsday.
Yeah, I'm a
you're a
prepper. I'm a
doomsday.
prepper.
Nice. Cans in your bag,
Hands
kind
in
of
the back.
kind of boy.
Hands too heavy, too heavy. Oh
gotta
my
go
God.
back.
What am I, this amateur hour over here?
What are you just doing powders?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay,
powder.
nice. You're a powder
protein.
boy.
I'm a powder
Hell
boy,
yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hello. No, but so I said, oh, I've got this emergency service app. I said, my location is but. And he goes, yeah, that's kind of like if you're lost in the bush and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but it works anywhere. So you just want to whack it in because he can open up on his
Also,
screen.
I'm just trying to do my best to not make
Yeah.
this 70-year-old
And he's
man
like-
die.
And he's like, oh, we're not using that. And I was like, cool. So I'll just run around till I find a fucking street sign. And he goes, oh, I think I know this guy as well. He's passed out before. He probably had too much to drink. I was like, I don't know, mate. There's just an old guy on the side of the fucking
Literally.
road. Come here or don't come here. What do you want me to fucking do? So I'm yelling at this
Yeah.
guy. I'm like,
Yeah.
you motherfucker.
Did he send someone out or did you give
Like
up?
half an hour later, 45 minutes later, they
On
sent
the
out this.
and you're on the phone with that whole
No,
time?
he goes, yeah, we'll try. And I had to keep ringing back because he's still on the ground. And then they get the ambulance guys like, oh, we pick him up every week. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know
But you don't know
Yeah.
that. And also, you're just trying to do your best. Like, I've had those situations too where, like, you'll see someone blackout drunk or whatever, and you're just trying to do your best.
Yeah.
And then you feel like the idiot.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, sorry, I just saw a man who's pissed himself, and I thought, I'll try to help someone not die today. But yeah, I'm the moron.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I should have
What?
just walked over him and kept going. Sorry.
Just step over him. But then it could be a social experiment someone's filming for TikTok.
Oh
Have you
my
seen all of these now?
God.
Oh.
There's all these things. I saw
No.
this the other day. They did this social experiment on the steps of some like train station, and some woman who was dressed in like corporate gear. They were trying to, I think, tell the difference between like, will people walk past someone who's dressed nicely versus not nice?
Okay.
And so there's this woman like laying on the steps, and people just stepped over her like carcass to keep going. And the whole thing is they were like, look how people treat people, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, now I'm paranoid. I'm constantly being filmed for TikTok. So now I'm like helping everyone. I'm like, I'll stop for anyone.
Handing out $5.
Yeah, handing out-
How nice
Good,
of
I need
us.
50
anybody
bucks.
who's listening. I'm like,
bad.
yeah, there's cameras here. I'll be giving you cash
Oh
after
my
this.
God.
I won't be falling for
al-
this experiment.
It's always like when you're like if you're on a first date or
Yeah.
an early a date early on, and like someone comes up and is like, hey, can I borrow $10? I'm like, oh, you know I'm on a date, don't you? Yes, mate. Here you go. And it's like
Trying to be a good
I'm
guy.
gonna fucking come back for that. I'm coming back for that. And I was like, I know you've asked me a million times, and I know you're doing the exact same. I know you go to the bottle shop like I'm going to do, but I want to go to the bottle
I'll
shop.
meet you there.
But you have to be impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
have a-
oh no, I always do this.
Yeah, easy. I have an uncle that is just like a chronic alcoholic, and he drinks to excess all the time.
What did you
and he
point at
will-
me?
Well, go on,
Your story.
referencing your story and you. And I had and so like he always makes a mess of himself. He always stuffs up whatever. He'll call the people will find him somewhere and call the ambulance. The ambulance will then call my mum. My mum's so used to hearing about it. She's like, okay, well, what do you want from me? I've got things on today.
Yeah.
And they're like, isn't this your brother?
You're
And
like,
she's like,
yeah, but he does this all the time.
Yes, but he'll do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
I'll
Like
catch him
what are you gonna
tomorrow.
do?
Yeah.
Some people are just so you can see why people get kind of a bit jaded.
Yeah.
Totally.
With all of it. It's just like.
And I think that's what happens to medical receptionists.
Yes.
Is I've seen everything. Like honestly, the weirdest stuff that's happened at this medical center is like you just become so desensitized. Like I remember I worked at the medical center. So my sister's a doctor. She worked there, and then I inherited her job when she went to full-time being a doctor. And then I went and I studied abroad in the US, and I'd worked at the medical center for a couple of years, and a kid started having a seizure in a classroom, and I was in the classroom next to, and we heard everything. And I walked past the classroom, or I was walking past because it was in a library or whatever, and the teacher and everyone's just sitting there, and the kid was having a seizure on the floor, smacking her head against the leg of the table. And I walked in and I was like, move the desk. Has anyone called the ambulance? And everyone was just like so frozen. And I remember being like, this sounds silly. I don't know what to do with the seizure, but she's hitting her head. We just call an ambulance. That everyone was like freeze because I'd seen similar things. I'd seen someone have a seizure after they got an implant on or whatever in the like reception area of the medical center. So I just felt really like calm in panic.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other thing too, is like people just, you become so desensitized. Like, and all the doctors used to tell such funny anecdotes of like when they worked in the emergency. I mean, you just see the craziest shit.
Yeah. It's like being a cop or whatever. My mate's a cop, and some of the stuff he tells me, I'm like, hey, do you reckon you might need to go speak to someone?
And they're like, about what?
He listens to these because they see the most, like he's like, oh, yesterday I saw a body and this, and I'm like, dude, I don't think I could deal. Like I can deal well in emergency. Like, if someone crashed in my house the other week, and I'm pretty good at getting people out of cars and making sure everyone's okay, that's fine. But just rocking up and seeing dead bodies, I'd be like,
shocking.
I don't know if I'm going to sleep for a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm okay in a situation, but you pray you only see something like that once or twice in your life. But people who work in, paramedics, firefighters and stuff, the things they would see, like police, first responders, a normal person would never see in a lifetime, and they see it in a shift.
Yeah.
But see, not to bring it back to comedy, but don't you think once you're experienced enough, you are so used to audiences or things happening in the room that it barely moves the needle.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of beautiful thing when we're talking about crowd work comics, when people will say to me like, oh, I want to be better. I'm like, if you have a genuine interest or love for crowd work, get into it. It's going to be painful because you're not naturally good at it, but that's okay. You can learn. But to have the skill, just in case some shit hits the fan in a room, to just know not to panic, I feel like that's a good tool to have in the tool belt.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be good at crowd work. You just have to be like, because I've seen comics, like someone will get up, fall over a table, drop a glass, and comics just they've pressed play on the recorder of what they're saying, and they won't deviate. I'm like, dude, 200 people see this person like fall.
You've got to address it.
Say something.
Yeah.
Come on.
Laugh
you've
at
got
them.
to anything. Just anything, and it'll get a laugh because there's so much weird tension in the room now. So I feel like you just become desensitized to like the crazy shit that happens to you on stage at some point.
I was bombing very hard on Sunday. I was emceeing and I just couldn't win this
There's
crowd.
nothing harder than an MC bomb.
Yeah,
I know.
it sucks.
That sucks.
You have to keep going back up.
You have to, and they hate you,
dude.
and they gotta keep seeing you. You're like, yep, me again. So sorry, I'll make this quick. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Like,
another
I haven't
bomb.
bombed like that in years. There was a psychotic switch in my head that went, okay, joke one, I've got 3 more. Yeah, I can linearly build them over time to get to this point. Worst case, I'm going to keep smiling through it. Went to crowd work, didn't work. Joke didn't work. All right, we're still going to have the best night of our lives. And then I was like, I'll get them back in the second. And the second, I got them back up to a reasonable thing. But you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like... If I was 10 years ago, I'd have been like, why don't you like me? I was like, actually, that joke's pretty
Why
good.
do you
So
think
you're
you
wrong.
bombed? Can you analyze the bomb?
I can analyze.
Was it a crowd? Sometimes the crowds are the problem.
There was a big group of people who had never seen comedy together.
Fault.
It was 16 people who were on a work function together, and they didn't really know each other, and that was half the room. The front of the room, I could have been better. And also, sometimes I'm quite loud for a small venue. I didn't know volume thing. Yeah. There'd probably be a few things I would change, but I think I did my normal good job of like, hey, this is a show. This is how it works. I'm your MC. There's 4 great acts coming up. There's a break. It's going to be the best night of your life. You guys ready for a good time? Yeah, all that shit. But yeah, I probably would have maybe fucked around with the audience a little bit more.
See, I like
to break the tension.
Maybe analysing a bomb's not good to do, but I love it because I do think sometimes it is the crowd's fault.
Yeah.
Call me ego. But I'm like, if you've got 16 people who work together. They're the worst crowds.
Yeah.
Yes.
They suck. And then 20 people who've never seen comedy. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a hard
yeah.
one to get through for an
16,
MC.
16 people who work together, chances of all of them wanting to go see comedy is pretty slim. It's just one
Exactly.
person
Oh,
who's
it's social
organised
groups,
it,
so they
and
don't
they're
even
all
know
like,
each
"Where we
other?"
going?"
Oh, God.
So then they were
Yeah.
very, and they were
No.
half the audience. But I could have been better with the tables at the front. I could have been more back to myself and just sat in some of those moments for longer.
But that's so hard.
But it was literally like
Yeah.
run of the mill textbook joke, which I do about being heckled.
Yeah.
has
yeah.
never not worked.
Yeah.
And then it
Nothing.
doesn't
And I was
work.
like, okay. And then I was like, I got another one to
The
come up. That's
worst
nothing.
feeling.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, how do I? And I just had to like go,
No.
well,
Yeah.
I've got to sit in this because I've
Yeah.
got a job to do.
Yeah.
And then I'll try and do some more light-hearted story, new stuff, because sometimes new stuff works better because it feels like a
pulls them
story.
over the line.
Didn't
Nothing.
work. And I'm like, I was just like, I couldn't crack the matrix.
It's a long drive home
Oh,
tonight.
mate, it was a long flight from Cairns. It was fucking 9 hours. But the thing is, I've had such great times at that comedy club, and
Yeah.
before, and it
Yeah.
just
Sorry,
it
sorry.
sometimes just happens, and you just like,
It happens, and if you've got good memories of that place, then that hopefully overrides. But always a bad bomb will stick.
For ages.
Oh.
For ages.
Honestly, I know it really does, doesn't it?
So if you, before we ask you about your worst ever gig,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have you ever been fired? You don't look.
I can't imagine you being
I
fired.
can't imagine either. You don't strike
I-
me as someone.
thank you.
Like Brett has heaps, but you could
yeah, you've been fired a lot.
no, I haven't.
Heaps. But is that because you're a bad employee? Because I'm
I'm a good worker. I'm
Are
a very
you?
good worker.
He's got a short fuse.
But I got if
Oh, okay.
I leave places, I will tell them to fuck off. Or,
Okay.
yeah.
See now, I think the thing I've been trying to get better at is actually leaning out a bit. Because if I'm doing a job, like I will always do it to the best of my ability, and then you get deep in something, you're like, I hate this. Why have I overcommitted? So I
Yeah.
don't get fired. I've never been fired. We got let go once when I was really young. I worked at Max Brenner, which is that like chocolate place.
yeah.
Do they have that here?
Oh, that would have been such a good get as a teenager.
It was so much fun, but we had no concept of like, this is so silly, but we had no concept of like money. We were like 14, we must have been 14, 9 months or 15.
But it's the coolest
And
job.
it was really fun because we literally were just like going up to weird people who were on dates, like giving them a waffle. Like it's like the strangest job for like a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And we would like cut strawberries, but we would also like just cut a strawberry and eat one ourselves. Like
Yeah.
it was a lot of that. And I worked with my best friend, and we used to eat a lot of strawberries. And then once they had like this like meeting, and they were like, we're really struggling financially, blah, blah, blah. And then a few months later, they went bankrupt and had to shut. And me and my friend were 15 thinking, it's because we ate all those strawberries.
no.
Like they couldn't make enough money. Like we thought
You were putting 9 kilos down a day though, so I think yeah.
we were literally like, it must be like the 3 shifts every afternoon we work, like during the week after school, like we're bankrupting these guys because like eating too strawberries are expensive. Like
Strawberries are $9 each.
But literally, I'm like, that's what was going on in my mind. So we weren't fired, but like they shut the place down.
But you
so
did
like
fire them. You
but in
actually,
some ways
you destroyed them financially.
that's what it felt like. And I'm like, there's so much pressure on like a 15-year-old when you have, I used to look after kids, like 15, 16, 17. And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm looking after someone's child.
That's more scary to me.
That's crazy.
Man,
Well,
when
it should
people
be,
hand me their
Brett.
kids or leave me alone, I'm like, Bronny! Like, what happens if, like, my
It's
cousin handed me
insane.
her daughter, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is nice. And I'm like, 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
Yeah.
4, 5. That's enough, thank you.
So
I
trusting.
don't want to drop it.
I think
How
at a
would you
certain
drop
point,
her?
but people drop things all the time. I
don't
have
know.
intrusive thoughts that I'm dropping my sister's kid.
Yeah.
Or hitting it on the roof when I lift her up to like be like, cute.
When it's yours, you're
They're
like,
so
but it's someone
resilient.
else's, you're like, what happens if it's
They're
full?
so resilient. Junkies have kids and they survive all the time.
That's
like
true.
you, just like if
That's
you're just a
true.
regular
but
person.
do they survive? But you don't want to have a kid who just survives. You want a kid who's thriving.
Yeah, but
And
like
I
if
feel
you're
like
You don't want one
on
with a big
hold-
dent in the head because Uncle Brett dropped him.
Yeah.
Well,
or you
just-
press the soft spot. You know they've got one of those.
Oh, yeah, I
The
want to
soft
touch it.
spot.
Yeah, I don't know
What is
why I
that
want to
called
touch it.
again? The soft spot?
Soft spot?
Perineum? No, that's not right. What's perineum? I had a swing. What's a perineum?
It's a different soft spot. That's a different area. That's
in your puss?
yeah.
Do you know, you and Lucas are so similar. So Lucas
I
had
came in hard with that one as well. I was
Yeah,
like, man, you
that was
gotta,
confident.
you gotta roll the dice, baby.
when a friend of ours came over with her son, he was holding him. Lucas was holding him, and Lucas just touched this baby's head and said, "Oh, he's got a really big perineum, doesn't he?" And I was really tired because I had a baby as well. So I when he said it, I went, "That's not right," and then kind of zoned out. And the mother of the baby went, yeah, I guess he does. Yeah, she's so nice about it. And then they kept talking, and I went, hold on, did you say perineum? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, that's absolutely not what you're touching.
Is the perineum the gooch then?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
right
it's
in
the gooch.
there.
So sometimes when people have babies, correct me if I'm wrong, they can rip it.
Yeah.
You just rip it from like.
Yeah, but blokes have perineums.
Yeah, I got a gooch.
It's the.
Okay, he's bragging.
But I think it's
Don't
got
show
gooches,
it.
don't we?
Everyone's got it. But I think
Hey
it's
guys,
more
check
common.
this out. I've got a gooch.
Yeah, we need that. That'll help with the views as
No,
well.
it's gone down. It's
Shall
gone
we-
down. Yeah.
People stop watching.
Yeah. One person's come back, a real creepy dude. He's like, I don't
wants to
mind his
know about
perineum.
more
gone
about
down.
perineum stuff. So I haven't really been fired, but
Okay.
I've hated every job I've had. Like when you hate a job so much, you sit there and you just like all day, you're like, oh, this is how I'd quit. You
Yes.
you
Oh,
like
yeah.
fantasize,
Oh my
like
God.
almost erotic.
Yeah.
It's like you're just imagining like how you would do it
Yeah, you get
to leave the
goosebumps.
most
Oh,
damage. Yeah.
so nice.
And,
I
then you just go,
just
and then I'll tell him to go fuck
yeah.
himself.
Yeah, so
You
Brett
confront
does that all
everyone
the
you
time.
ever hated. So do you actually do that? You go with your intrusive thoughts?
Oh, I don't mind confrontation. In fact, I thrive on it. I think I like it too much. If I have a problem with someone, I let them know. Like, I'll
Really?
call them. I'm like, hey, that was shit. Like, I don't.
That's so good of you.
Yeah, I've done it with bosses and stuff. Like, nah, man, I didn't like that. Don't ever speak to me like that. Like, I'm not a fucking child.
So now, are you like this?
I don't know. I can't remember having a job. I don't think. I think. Maybe I'm a little bit. It depends. It depends what job it is. I think with teaching, I would do that. Like if it felt really hard done by, I'd be like, no, I'm actually gonna escalate this, and then go sit in the principal's office and be like, I think that this could have been better, whatever. But I'm not I remember when I was, working at Donut King when I was 14, 9 months.
Yeah.
See, you're not
Tracy, the
gonna-
manager, was so mean to me, and I
Yeah.
had to just be like,
You take
"That's
it.
fine, Tracy.
Yeah.
No worries."
When you're younger, you cop it. But when
Yeah.
you're like, I don't fucking need this. So I'm like,
Yes.
I'm an
As
adult.
an adult,
Yeah.
you definitely push back a little.
Yeah. And I also feel like sometimes you go and I will kind of always work for myself, or I'm a freelancer or something like that.
Yeah.
So that
Which makes it a lot easier.
hasn't been a real problem in a while.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not fucking.
But when you were
copping
like,
shit.
your first job when you're like 15, 16, you'd call the boss and be like, hey, mate.
If I had a problem with someone, I'd be like, that's not on. Like I nearly got fired from the Imperial when I worked over here because he talked to another female staff like shit, and I said, hey
Yeah.
mate, don't fucking speak to people
Look
like
at
that.
you being an ally.
good.
Yeah.
Good on you.
No, it
Helping
would have been
women.
anyone.
No, yeah.
It doesn't
no,
matter.
But see,
It's
I
like,
feel
that's
like
not good. I'm happy to lose my job.
Having that
I had
when
a
you're
few
young
beers
is
as well,
yeah, you're a little bit of liquid courage. But I feel like doing that when you're young is hard. Like
Yeah.
now I would be much more firm. But when I was like working at Max Brenner or like babysitting or whatever, and like the mums or dads say weird shit to you, you're just kind of like, okay, thanks.
Needed a hero like Brett. That's what
Yeah.
he's got. His mullet is a cape, actually.
Oh,
So it's a head
is your hair
cape.
like Samson's hair? That's where your strength is.
I don't know who Samson is, but yes.
Oh,
I
true.
definitely
Maybe
want
that's-
to see his
is that a
perineum
Jewish?
though.
Is that a Jewish story?
I don't know.
Samson
I know
and
the story. I'm
Delilah?
not Yeah.
I don't know. Does it
Is
look
that in
like
the
I read
Bible?
books, mate?
Are you guys a
Don't know where
Bible
it's
crowd?
from. No, I'm not
What's
a
the
Bible
vibe
crowd.
over here?
But we've probably got a huge Bible
Do you have a
belt
Bible?
following us.
Really?
Yeah, I
Nice.
feel
Well,
like
then
that's
they'll
our crowd.
probably know.
Man,
They'll be across
but
some of that.
I only remember one song was that there's like, with Christ as my vessel I can smile at the storm. They made us sing that at school for some reason.
That is
I
so
love
embarrassing.
religious
Clip it up.
music.
Yeah, I
It's
got kicked out of that
amazing.
school though. That was
Oh,
the one I got.
did you?
Did
when I was on
you?
the roof and they got smacked because they could hit
So
people.
you were just a naughty kid.
Yeah.
See, I was a cheeky kid, not a naughty kid. See, like if I was at a job, I would do the job really well. Like I was following the rules in a sense.
You
As
would
long
tell
as
him
I
to get
thought
fucked like Brett would. That's so weird. I thought you guys were identical until this moment.
really,
Twinsies.
my hair is also my superpower.
I just
Yes,
get, I
yes,
get
yes,
bored
it's
and just
very
be
nice.
a turd. Like when Dick Smith
Yeah.
went down, I thought it was me and my friends because we used to like
Eat their
steal and
strawberries.
sell things back. And
How old are you? Because I think I was 15. That made
Yeah.
sense to me logically.
Oh my God, God bless.
They
He
went
is so cute.
they went bankrupt, and me and my friend were like, "Well, it's all the we've just been kind of doing
We have
that."
got so much vitamin C
We've got-
and guilt.
But no, haven't really been fired.
Oh, well, that's great. But we assume
Yeah.
that and we were right
Yeah.
and we love being right. Now, what
Yeah.
is the worst ever gig you've done?
Oh, that's a great question. Do you want to check he's okay?
He's fine. Just ignore him for a bit and then
Okay.
hopefully he'll pass out.
go on.
Oh, I like that his
10
hair's
more
got
minutes,
colour
mate,
in
and
it.
we'll come
Yeah,
hang
he's
out with you.
That's so
10 minutes?
cute.
You're doing so well, Ari.
You're
He's
doing
not-
well,
I'm
mate.
actually
We'll see
really
you soon.
disappointed in him. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
He's put
sorry.
his
So
head
the
down on the
question-
carpet. He's like,
Sorry, it's just
I'm going to die for 10 minutes. I'll come alive again. 10 more minutes.
You're okay, mate.
Yeah.
I
10
love your
minutes.
hair.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. Do you start off with the
shake.
worst ever gig?
Right. Worst ever gig. It can't be worse than me on the weekend.
Worst gig. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Okay, worst gig. There's two. There's one that's was a weird gig, and then there's a bad gig. I just started hosting more regularly at the Comedy Store in Sydney, and I think this was my first full week. So I'd done a couple cover spots where I was doing emceeing when someone else couldn't. But this was my first full week. You're gonna do Tuesday through Saturday, and it must have been the Thursday or the Friday night, and it was my mum rarely comes to shows, but she was like, wow, I'm gonna come to this one, this is so exciting, level up. And before I even go on stage, I'm backstage, and I didn't see this, but this dude with a group of his guy friends is standing up and flexing.
I hate this already.
Yeah.
What, in the audience?
In the audience, fourth row back on the left-hand side.
shirt off, shirt on?
No, shirt's on at this point.
Okay.
At this point. There we go.
Yeah.
Bit of an Easter egg for you.
I'm in.
Bit of an Easter egg for you.
Yeah, okay.
So he's standing and he's flexing and he's turning around to the entire packed house, flexing. So
everyone needs to see
everyone
it.
got to see this hottie. So I'm not even on stage yet. I come out, clap, and this dude is me. I'm like, how's everyone going? And he's going, yeah. Me. Talk to me. And I'm ignoring him because, again, first time I'm doing a full week run at the store as the MC. So I'm trying to be quite professional and be just ignore it, Jess. And I've never had anything like this at this point. But it gets to the point where I'm like, all right, guys, give me a cheer if you've been to comedy before. He's like, yeah. Now he starts standing, takes his shirt off. He's jacked, and he's
first of all, thank you.
First of all, I'm like, no worries.
Yeah.
Talk to me after.
Mum, this happens to me all the time. The dudes are just ripping their shirts off, showing me their sexy body. That's how good I am at comedy.
Yeah, this is best gig or worst gig? Did you guys
yeah,
want?
yeah, best
Best
gig.
or worst?
Yeah. I come to 18 times after that. The end, bye.
But also, best and worst, sometimes two sides of the same
Yeah,
coin.
yeah, exactly.
Two sides of the same
Yeah.
coin. So he's taking his shirt off. It's open, and he's flexing, standing up, putting his tongue out, whatever. So I hit the point. This is 4 minutes in where I'd been ignoring him for the first few, and I'm like, I'm going to have to deal with this. So I kind of turn to him. He's on my left. And I'm like, and as soon as I realize he's so drunk, you know when someone's so belligerent, I can't even crowd work you, because I could crowd work someone. I've had people call or be rude before or whatever, and you can crowd work them. You obliterate them with your words, and then they're so scared and cucked that they sit there.
Yeah.
Right. And that's now my approach when I MC is I often come out, and to be honest with you, I'll pick a man in the crowd and I'll just ruin him with my words.
Great.
So that's a warning shot. Yep. I'm like, don't fuck with me. We can have fun. We're having fun. But I will I'll pick someone and just kind of banter with them and show that I will outwit them.
Yeah.
Just as a warning. And I wasn't used to doing this at this point. So this dude's standing there. So then I try to deal with him, and he's so drunk I can't even engage.
Yes.
And
He's
the
not
crowd,
listening properly either.
he's standing up shirtless in front of 300 people on a Friday night,
Fucking
flexing.
rules.
It's psychotic. And the crowd is getting so uncomfortable. And there were a couple older men who I had crowd worked a little, and they liked me. And so they start going, sit down, booing him. And I'm like, now we're going to get a fight. If this doesn't, whatever. So then I kind of turn my back to him, and I say to the rest of the crowd, I go, listen, he's going to get worse. I've done this job a while. He's going to get worse. It's going to ruin the night. But if you guys can just put more love and energy and attention to whatever's happening here, he's an idiot. This is impossible. And the crowd just erupts. They were like, woo! Because they were so desperate to help me. And to my credit, I was very happy with how I handled it. And then basically the guy at the time who was running, he came back after I brought on the first person. They were like, are you okay? And I said, I'm good. Get him the fuck out of here.
What is he still sitting
Stop
there
serving
for?
him.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. They were so busy that they didn't see he had been already flexing. Anyway, comes to find out it's a room full of personal trainers. They were, which I guessed when I was on stage. I was like, what's wrong with you? And he bet you're personal
How could they afford the $30 ticket to come in?
Jeez. And they were personal trainers who had gone on a big night out because the rest of the personal trainers at the company had been invited to a bachelor party that these guys are the rejects. So they were losers, and they were the losers of their crew.
Oh, man, the rejects of the personal trainers.
Can you
Fucking
imagine?
hell.
And so they were just got blackout drunk. They were obviously upset and wanted
Bad
to
night to be a
compete.
vodka soda.
Yeah.
With a bit of lime, And so anyway, so that was just rough, but it's just one of those things where you're like, fucking hell. And now I mean, unless you're really leveling up from that action of like
Yes.
taking a shot off,
Yes.
I'm good with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And
You can't
that's-
beat that as well. You can't, like, what do you do? Like, it's not.
If he was
that's not
just
a heckle.
drunk-
That's fucking just insanity, and you're like
Yeah.
trying to navigate.
Right?
Yeah.
And my mum's at the back and she's a nervous woman. And afterwards she was like shell shocked. She was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm good.
I'm fine.
I'm okay. But it's so nerve wracking to see your child or someone you
Yeah.
care about in front of 300 people have to like muscle this dude. So that was just like, that was a rough gig because I was also like, you know, the Comedy Store, it's such a big deal. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
you're like so nervous and there's very...
At the start, yeah, it was very
No,
exciting.
no, no,
as in, like,
Yeah.
you know, at the start. Also,
I've just
there's-
got gripe at the moment. That's my
no,
problem. Yeah.
but the more you do it, the more you realize it's
It's-
like everywhere else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's that thing. This was a couple of years ago. I was that thing where people would like, I would do so many gigs, and it was like, who are you? Who are you? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been around. Like, how am I not getting a little bit of traction?
Yeah.
And this was like the first like.
having your name on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Just
It's a
getting
big
to
deal.
host there
Yeah,
when
yeah,
also
it's a big deal.
I perform there a lot. I'm one of the only female hosts I've ever seen there. So also to be like the woman and I've come out and
Yeah.
now this guy's fucking with me. Is it because I'm a woman? Like I'm
Yep.
like starting to
Yeah,
go, okay,
yep.
how aggressive should I be? Because you also don't want to be this like aggressive, like yappy, what, you know, you're like running through all the things in your mind of like, how do I handle this? And now I wouldn't second guess. I would just like deal with it. But this was a couple of years ago or maybe, yeah, it would have been a year and a half ago. So it was also like one of the first times something that insane happened to
Yep.
me. And
It's so
It was
like what are the
wild.
chances on that night and your mum's there? You're like, oh my god.
Mum's
and
there.
I reckon the worst part of those gigs when someone like arcs up and you have to deal with them is when people are worried for you. You're like,
Yes.
don't worry about me.
literally, and
I'm
I feel like
fine.
I get a lot more, I don't know if it's younger and woman or something, but I
Yeah.
feel like when something goes wrong, the whole crowd's assholes just tighten
Yeah.
because they're like, is she going to be capable? I'm like, fucking hell.
course I am.
So
Yeah.
that's also now why I'm like, I'll come out. And because my style is very like, kind
Yes,
of
yes,
dumb
yeah.
in a fun way. Like
Yeah.
I describe dumb as fun. Like I think they almost are like, we don't know if she's capable. So
Yeah.
I have to be like, watch this.
Yeah.
I'll like obliterate you with my
Yeah.
words. You'll see I'm capable and fast and smart.
Yeah.
We're gonna be good.
Yes.
I've got a grenade with me. I'm
Yeah.
going to show you. Bang,
Yeah,
there we
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
I'm back to being fun, but I can
Right,
throw one back at
yeah.
you. Yeah.
But I
Love
can be an
it.
idiot and you can be silly with me and you can heckle and call weird things out. But at the end of the day, like I'll go toe for toe for you and I will win.
Yes.
And that's okay.
I love it.
Which
That's
is
a
so
good
fun.
attitude.
But I
Yeah.
think that's the thing. Like that was a weird show just because it was purely like I'd never seen it and I'd never been part of it.
And
Because
your
I've never
mum.
seen
No,
that.
and
And,
that's
my mum, my nervous little mum at the back,
My
just
God.
being like,
Your teenage
And there's
mum
no,
at the back.
there's no textbook answer for it as well. It's like, I've seen that equation before. when a guy takes his shirt off,
exactly.
what you normally do
here's
is...
the
Totally.
thing. Here's the thing. Yeah, I'm like, I've never seen someone else have to handle something
Yeah.
like that.
Yes.
Whereas, you know, you've seen someone, you know, I've seen someone like get so drunk that they like have to be carried out.
Yeah.
Fine. Or I've seen someone spill something. and
Yeah.
I've seen someone handle it well or not handle it well. And you're like, yeah, that's all good. So that was a weird ass gig.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
dude.
How weird is that?
But it's kind of like funny.
Oh,
In
it
hindsight,
was
it's
so
so good.
great. It was
Dude, I was like, I know it would have sucked,
embarrassing.
but if I was in the back green room, I'd be having the best time. I'm like, man, Jess, how are you getting out of this one? There's a dude with his shirt off. I'm like, I'd be like, get your dick out as well, mate. That's fucking.
See what she
Let's
does.
go.
Yeah, because comedians like when we're when you kind of get to a level of like, yeah, I know you're great, you can
Yeah.
do the job,
Yeah.
but it's like when you get to see someone handle an unknown variable, that's when I'm fucking excited, you know?
There's something so deliciously fun about seeing a friend who you know is talented bomb.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so
paradise.
painfully.
Oh.
It's so
I got
good.
footage if you want to see 7 minutes of me of doing it
I
yesterday.
love watching Brett bomb. It's so
Yeah,
nice.
but being
You've
live.
never
but
seen me
still-
bomb. No. I don't bomb.
Seeing someone just bomb is so fun when
It
you know,
is fun.
and also when you know as soon as they get off stage they're gonna look at you and be like, "What was that?" And you're like, "What was that?"
No, you
That
did
was
all right, mate.
terrible.
That was
Yeah.
fine.
No, but I won't lie to someone now. If I'm
Yeah,
close enough with them,
great.
I'll go, "Yeah, that was terrible." I'll be like, "That
They
wasn't." And
hated you.
sometimes they hated you. Sometimes they just hate you.
Yeah.
and that's okay.
I got off to Pete James was at the desk and,
Oh, he would have loved that.
and I just went, oh yeah. He did not like me.
yeah.
And what did he say?
And he goes, nah, it's you know, because he's,
Oh,
he's
so
like,
he's positive.
"Oh, you'll get him
Yeah,
him
he's
back. And I was
positive.
like, I don't think I will.
No.
And I was like, I'm going to sit real close to this desk because normally I'm like walking around, mingling. I'm like, oh, I'm the king. Oh, man, the best part was I was like, I had all my stubby holders ready to sell at the end of the show. I was like, I don't think I'm going to move any of those.
I'll pack these away.
I'll get them down there, shall I?
I'll put them in the trunk.
Just before we wrap it up, you are touring your show, and I'm so happy we talked a lot about crowd work because your show that you're touring has a lot of crowd work in it this year, right?
Yeah, this will be really fun. So I am going to do like 9 or 10 shows here in Melbourne, and then I'll do 3 in Sydney, and then I'll see, we'll see. But they're really fun because the premise is like, it's called Sex Jokes for Women. And the idea is like, you know.
it's already funny.
Yeah, it's like silly. It's also very clear what you're getting. It's going to be about sex because people often, especially online, will be like, women always talk about sex. And I'm like, okay. So here's your warning. Don't come if you don't want to hear a female comedian talk about sex. Because it's not just like disgusting stories, but it's like very silly and fun. But every single night there's a different prompt that relates to some of the themes or jokes. And so people will get to come in, you write anonymously like an anecdote or a story or a question, whatever you want.
Oh, that's fun.
And there's a bowl, and then throughout I'll do a joke, and then I'll read a thing, I'll crowd work. So it's every night's different. You can come with your friends. If you like it on a Monday, come on the Sunday. It's very chill and fun. And I just wanted something where I'm like, it's live.
Yeah.
It's you've left your house. It's not COVID. You have to talk to people. This isn't Netflix. You have to speak to me.
Let's have fun.
I'm forcing your hand.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be really fun because I did a show in December like that. And I was like, okay, there's maybe 50 people there. And I thought, I'll get 5 write-ins or whatever. Literally, there was maybe 65. People were putting multiple. It was so, and people were like, you'd pull something and people would be like, what does it say? Like people were like, oh. Yeah. So I think people love it because it's just live.
And it's a bit about them as well. And people like to share
but
stuff.
it's anonymous. So you're not vulnerable.
Yeah.
But then, you know, and then also some things I would pull out. Sometimes there were some doubles. So 2 people had written similar kind of thing. So it just shows you like we are so similar. Yeah. And it's so cool. And
that's
why
going to be great.
Yeah. So it'll be really fun.
It'd be a fun one to go with a group of friends as well.
Yeah.
I think that would be, so if you are wanting to go and see something excellent, go get tickets to Jess Fuchs' show. It's called Sex Jokes for Women.
Yes.
And it's Melbourne and Sydney, and go with a group of friends because that sounds like the funnest thing to do, right?
Loose, dude.
Yeah.
Get a pint of wine. Where can people find you on the social media, Jess?
Just Jess Fuchs across everything. My last name's, they'll probably be able to see how it's spelt. Sometimes I'll explain to people it's spelt like fucks with an H instead of a K.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes breaks people's brains.
It'll be on there.
But they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much. If you're not already on the Patreon, please make sure you subscribe. Me and Bron are currently touring Australia-wide, so check out all those for dates. And we got live Adelaide and live Melbourne coming up, so make sure you grab your bloody little tickets. Until next time, bye.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
That was great, Jess. Thank you so
That
much
was
for your
fun.
time. I
You
really
guys are so
appreciate it.
easy.
I've been fired from a lot of places. I've been fired from so many places.
I went into the class one day, real bullets.